Hello and welcome to my Ever Messy Art Studio. My name is Keeks, and today we're going to be doing an Art by Heather style scroll and scribble, which is really fun. And this was suggested by Devin Rex for Arts Yolande. So please check out both of their channels as they're both awesome artists with great ideas. So today I'm going to be using the 72 watercolor pencils from Xena Color, the Expert series. These are some water-soluble colored pencils that I got on Amazon. The other thing that I'm going to be using that she actually uses a lot is the Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2s, which I've only ever used one other time before this, and that was to kind of test this idea to make sure I'd like it. But yeah, so we're going to be using that and my Little Amy Arts journal. I do also want to mention that instead of being a live reaction like she does in her videos, I am having to do a voice recorder. I share a wall with my son and I do most of my artwork at night. I know that's probably not really what Yolande had in mind, but this is kind of how I have to do it. So hopefully you guys don't mind. I was really excited to use my Little Amy Arts journal because she has both Archer's hot and cold press papers in here. So I'm really excited to see how they would react with the colored pencils as well as the Neo Color 2s. Because I'm new to both of these different types of utensils. So it was pretty exciting to be able to try these out. And both mediums ended up working perfectly, and I'm really super happy with how everything ended up looking afterwards. Because I wasn't using actual watercolors, I did decide to go ahead and use my Ohuhu water brush, and it actually worked out pretty perfect with these because I didn't have to rinse out my water every time. I just kind of ended up using a paper towel that was next to my book, and then I would just like wipe off that excess water. So how this works is I've already went on Pinterest and put up a whole bunch of copyright-free images, and all you do is use your finger to scroll, and whatever picture it lands on is the picture that you end up doing. So in this case, when I did my first scroll, I ended up landing on this cool red typewriter. Not gonna lie, part of me was a little nervous about this because when I saw that red typewriter, I'm thinking, oh my god, lots of keys, lots of super details, what am I gonna do? The other thing I had to decide is, was I gonna do like what I normally do? Because usually I will actually sketch things out with a pencil and then go back and color it, but I decided to do it more like how Art by Heather does it, where instead I just go ahead and start with my Neo colors and just try to draw basic shapes. And I decided that if it wasn't perfect, I was just gonna go for it. This was pretty different from how I normally sketch because, like I said, I do usually start with a pencil first and then I go around and make sure everything's perfect, but I just wanted this to be loose and fun, so instead I started out with my red Neo color. I got that basic outline done, and then I went in with the black Neo colors, and I just tried to really get in basic shapes because I didn't think it would be perfect, nor would I want it to be absolutely perfect anyway. This is supposed to be more playful and fun. If I could go back, one thing I would change is kind of where that black is, where the keys of the keyboard are going to be at. I should have made that a little bit bigger, or maybe I should have made my typewriter just a little bit more square instead of rectangly, because later on, whenever I did end up adding those keys, I wasn't able to add enough keys to that area, which kind of made it look a little silly. But once again, I was just kind of playing with this, and I really enjoyed putting everything in its place. I really liked putting the leaves up in that corner because that corner was really blank, and I thought maybe those leaves would fill in the space quite nicely. So I think overall, everything ended up looking really nice here. It was really difficult though, and I think one of the things I'll really look forward to doing is actually going back and trying to redraw this at some point. One thing that I did think was kind of funny is as I was drawing this, because of the part of the reference photo that has kind of like that weird smiley face look to it, this actually for a while just kind of looked like a robot to me, like maybe out of the cut and collage books. So I did think that that was pretty funny too. Here you can see that my biggest struggle, of course, is with those keys, like I mentioned before. Another problem I had was I didn't wait for the Neo colors to dry enough before trying to add those keys, so they kept trying to blend in, and then finally I gave up and used a Posca pen and just kind of put an essence of keys there. So once again, I would definitely love to draw this again, but I had fun with it. On the next spin, it works the same way, except I started at the bottom of the list, and this time I scrolled up. I was really excited to get this image because I've been wanting to work more on rocks, so this was actually a great image for me to practice. I decided to try to do this one as the centerpiece, as whenever Art by Heather does these, she actually always has one in the middle, and I thought this would be absolutely perfect for that. I really enjoyed drawing something from Arches National Park. I actually have something hanging up in my bedroom that happens to be from them that I painted myself. So I had a lot of fun with this. It was a little weird doing it with Neo colors. Like, I didn't get spots as dark as I wanted to, but I wanted to try to avoid using black for shading because I've been watching a lot of things on color theory lately, and black apparently like muddies things. If I had to go back, maybe I would just go ahead and do it my way though, because I did feel like my darks weren't dark enough, but I did at least try to get some of that shading in there, and I think you can tell by the shape that it actually is that same space there. Like, I don't think that this is an unrecognizable structure, so I think I did pretty good on this one. To me, it almost came out sort of abstract-y the way that I did the background, but I was really just trying to get those kind of like reddish mountains in the background, or cliffs, or I'm not really sure what they are. Maybe it's a giant plateau. But I was just trying to get that general color back there, that way you could really see where this was from. And I also think that when I added the sky to it, it really made it really pretty. I also think that the reds really tied the images together to make this look like a more cohesive page, which was also really fun too. On my next spin, I started back at the top again and then spun downwards. And this time I ended up getting an ostrich eye, which was really exciting because this one was actually influenced by when Art by Heather did her eyes page for her 5,000 views. I will say bird faces are definitely difficult. I ended up putting the eye a little bit too far over, so I had to make more of the bird's face I couldn't see, so I just kind of guessed at what it might look like, just thinking about what this half of the ostrich's face looked like. And that ended up being okay. My favorite part about this is whenever I went to use the watercolor pen on this, because it really made the bird pop, and I absolutely loved how vibrant the colors are. And once again, we have that red that's kind of tying everything together. It's kind of funny how the universe works with that, because I feel like each time that I went to spin for something to draw, it ended up being something that weirdly went together for color reasons, which I thought was kind of interesting. So you'll notice kind of a theme here that seems like everything except for one image has red in it, and the one image that doesn't end up with red ends up going well because it was black anyway. So it's just kind of funny how that ends up working. Now, I definitely think that I should work some more on bird faces, but I'm pretty proud of how this turned out. I can definitely tell that it's an ostrich, or at least a large bird of some sort, which is awesome. On this next spin, it seemed like the universe had a plan again. It was actually really funny because I really needed something tall and skinny to go in that far right corner. And when I span, I got a key, which was pretty awesome. So I was like, hey, this is perfect. I can put that there and it'll be great and everything's going to work out just fine. In fact, I think that I was actually so excited that this key was there that I might have gotten a little too overconfident. The reason I say that is because I feel like the original drawing of the key that I did with the Neo Color 2 actually looked awesome. And then I feel like I kind of ruined it whenever I added the water to it, because when I added the water to it, I accidentally made the lines too thick. And then each time that I would go back and fix it, it was like I was making it thicker and thicker until finally I just used the white Neo Color, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this a little bit abstract. I'm going to kind of fog it around the key. And then I took the Posca pen and just kind of colored it in from there. So I do like the original drawing of the key better, and I wish that I would have taken my time and not been so quick to color it in with that water, or at least maybe had been more precise, I would say. But otherwise, I really like the end piece of what it turned out like. I definitely think that it was salvageable, and I'm not mad at it for sure. Like, it definitely looks really cool in the area that it's at, and I do feel like it fits in just nice there. What do you think? Do you think I rushed the key a little bit? Let me know in the comments below. My last spin was another fun image. It ended up being this awesome, beautiful colored moth, once again with lots of oranges and reds in it, so it was going to fit right on my journal page, and that was really exciting. For this one, I decided to go with a more loose, abstract look that just basically had all the colors there. One of the reasons that ended up happening was actually because I was actually really sleepy by the time I got to this one. It was like midnight. Oh my god. And I was like, oh, I want to finish this journal page so badly. So I may have cut a little bit of a corner with this one. This is another one that later on I would like to try to redraw again, like maybe a close-up where I do the entire page. And I think that would be really fun. I really, really love this image, and I would love to be able to capture all those greens and the stem and, just basically all the images. Now, on these, I did end up printing out all of these different images, so that way I can look back and reflect on them if I want to, and I can redraw them again, which I think is really important, because the better I practice, the better off it'll be. And really, my whole goal with these is to become a better artist. This is how my completed journal page turned out, and I will say it looks pretty good. And I actually had a lot of fun doing this, though I will say that Art by Heather makes it look a lot easier than what it is. I definitely had a good time with it, and I think it did a good job, but it was definitely a lot harder than I expected. But it was really fun trying to play with the composition to get everything to look good. So thanks, Yolande. I really appreciate you letting me know about this YouTuber who I have already watched all of her videos. I binge watched them all, and I really enjoyed seeing all of her different techniques, and I also really enjoyed trying this out. So I hope you guys do something similar to this too. It's a lot of fun, and I will go ahead and link Art by Heather in the comments below. Thanks, everybody. If you made it this far, I'd really appreciate it if you would give me a like, or if you haven't subscribed, that would be awesome as well. But hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!